Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. After a terrible 25 years with Kody Brown, Sister Wives star Christine Brown remarried. After a year of dating David Woolley, whom she had met on a dating app, she knew he was the one for her. Their second marriage was this one. Although everyone is aware of Christine's notorious polygamous union with Kody, little is known about David. The woman he was previously married to tragically died. David made a devastating confession about the death of his ex-wife. He and his ex-wife have 8 children together. His wife died by suicide, but they had a wonderful relationship. He discussed the tragedy and its impact on him in great depth in the most recent episode. As far as we can tell, David, the owner of a construction company who is 61 years old, is quite open and honest. He acknowledged that one of the most difficult things he had ever done was deal with his wife's passing. Robin's younger brother also died by suicide, according to Sister Wives. When Garrison died, the Brown family was distraught. He died at the young age of 25 from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was the son of Janelle and Kody. We also learned about the untimely death of David's ex-wife following his suicide. But few people knew about Robin's case. Due to his battle with depression, her younger brother also committed suicide. However, Kody's fourth wife steers clear of the subject since she dislikes discussing her younger brother. We have no understanding how someone might suddenly depart this earth, which is such a horrible place. Sister Wives, David Woolley discussed the death of his ex-wife. In the most recent episode, David Woolley, the husband of Christine Brown, talked candidly about his wife's untimely death. Margaret, his former spouse, and he had 8 children together. Although David and his ex-wife were in a good relationship, like other couples, they had problems. His wife had her own set of problems that, in a sense, drove her to commit suicide. In the most recent episode, David revealed that he continues to hold himself responsible for his wife's passing. He went on to say that having to tell his children of his wife's death was an extremely trying and emotional time. He acknowledges that it was among the most difficult things he had ever done. In 2012, Margaret passed away from despair, and David was unable to figure out how to support her. David went into detail about how his sister pressured him to tell their children the news. It was the hardest thing, crying, realizing that she wasn't coming back, he continued. Christine, who was standing next to David, acknowledged that Margaret was unique. I've seen enough of David's home videos to know, she added. There are a lot of joyful memories and moments because she loved her children. You guys, Christine Brown regrets a few things. She is here to discuss them. The mother of 6 reflected on her relationship with her ex-husband Kody and voiced some grave regret on Sunday night's Sister Wives Candid episode. You know that about 4 years ago, I fell in love with Kody? While preparing to depart for the filming, Christine informed her husband, David Woolley. I feel disgusted with myself because so much of my life was so focused on him, she continued. Since she broke up with Kody in November 2021, Christine has been very critical of him. For instance, she frequently calls him a deadbeat father. Christine also filed a lawsuit against Kody back in September, requesting custody and child support for their infant daughter Truly. The TLC celebrity needed several years to gain the bravery and strength to end a relationship that she believed had turned into a one-sided affair. Christine believes that since their 2014 marriage, Kody has blatantly favored Robin, his legal wife. The patriarch of the Brown family is still incensed by this interpretation. Christine, meantime, revealed on the May 25th episode of Sister Wives that she has observed a significant difference between her and Woolley's partnership and her previous connection with the father of 18, who has also recently been abandoned by Mary and Janelle Brown. You're here all the time. There is never a change in you. And when you're here, I always know it, Christine remarked of David. I had no idea when Kody would be available. He had us on edge all the time. Not really, though. Yes, we mean it. That's what polygamous marriages are like, isn't it? Kody was unable to concentrate on Christine since he spent alternate days and nights with other women. She also couldn't rely on someone who had other obligations. However, Robin is truly the root of a lot of the problems. Christine stated on broadcast, Well, I knew where he was at, referring to Cody's time with Robin, his fourth wife. Our biggest battle is that. In an interview with host Sukanya Krishnan, Christine also talked about weird and embarrassing parts of her and Cody's marriage. The 53-year-old remarked, "My life was just wrapped up in what Cody needed and what he wanted and what the family needed and wanted. He didn't simply follow our instructions. To make room for him, we had to alter our course. And it is unacceptable. That is unfair. That is why he is the center of our lives. Yes, yes, yes. We believe that this is the reason polygamy is always unjust to the women who are engaged." We're delighted that Christine, Janelle, and Mary have reached the same conclusion. Regarding her many years of living in multiple marriages, Christine now acknowledges, "It's embarrassing that I lived it." Cody, on the other hand, has given up polygamy after being dumped by 3 different husbands within a year. In an April Sister Wives episode, Cody told Robin, "I don't want to be flippant with my answer because we were devoted to this, but I'm not interested in plural marriage anymore. I don't want that headache, the doubts, the difficulties, the questions about trust, so I don't want to pursue another woman." In a Sister Wives episode, Christine Brown Woolley's husband, David Woolley, talked candidly about the untimely death of his first wife. The 61-year-old owner of a construction company acknowledged, "I blame myself," in the May 11th episode. "My wife, the mother of my children, took her own life." David recalled the painful moment he had to break the devastating truth to his kids. "Telling my children that their mother would not be returning home was one of the most difficult things I have ever done." This occurs when the suicide of Garrison Brown, the son of Cody and Janelle Brown, becomes the show's central focus. David talked about how he looked to his sister for support after he lost his late wife, Margaret Woolley, to depression in 2012. The couple had 8 children together. He said to her, "What do I do?" She answered, "You need to tell them." He continued, overcome with grief. "It was the hardest thing, crying, realizing that she wasn't coming back." Christine, 53, was clearly moved and referred to Margaret as special. "I know this because I've watched enough of David's home films. There are a lot of joyful memories and moments because she loved her children." David introduced himself to his admirers on Instagram earlier this year by giving them a peek into his life. "Hi there. I apologize for not revealing my identity to others yet. I have 8 children. 2 are unmarried and 6 are married." He added, "I have 10 grandchildren," and sent pictures of his family. "Their mother and I were married for 20 years before depression took control of her. I've been a single father for 11 years, David stated. In spite of the pain, David disclosed that he dated following the death of his wife, but nothing lasted until Christine entered his life. "I'm really pleased with all of my children. Here is a brief introduction of myself. I'm happy to be here, and the future is so bright that I can't wait to be with Christine," he exclaimed. Following her breakup with Cody in November 2021, Christine found love once more. She proudly revealed how she and David met in late 2022 through a matchmaker. They were married in a beautiful wedding in Moab, Utah, in October 2023. The major celebration was also attended by Garrison, who tragically died months later. Christine remarked, "I'm so glad he came to our wedding. Nothing's the same since his death by suicide." The couple honored Garrison by planting a willow tree in their backyard as a memorial and a way to talk to him in spirit. For years, Sister Wives Christine Brown followed Cody Brown around like a lost puppy. The mother of 6 would often agree with the patriarch's lofty ideals and rarely caused a stir. However, the spark that made Christine feel so special began to fade as their marriage progressed. The TLC revealed why she eventually gave up on Cody and began focusing on herself on the most recent tell-all. Although it was difficult, Christine had to acknowledge that her life had been wrapped up in what Cody needed and wanted for a very long time. "Even while he wasn't around, I kept thinking, we'll do this, and this when he gets here." According to Christine, acknowledging that he was the son for a very long period was embarrassing. Cody would move from house to house, as Sister Wives fans are aware. Additionally, most of the time, the women were left to manage their own homes as if they were the only parent. In order to make room for him, we had to modify our plans, Christine said. Ultimately, after nearly 2 decades of marriage, Christine decided to end her marriage, since it was no longer fulfilling her. She pointed out that it wasn't typical for the family to behave as though Cody were a king. That's not okay, she said. That is unfair. It makes him the center of our affections. And the fact that I experienced it makes me feel embarrassed and frustrated. Regarding respect, she believes that Cody may have once had some regard for the women, but only in relation to specific roles and occupations. During the season, Cody said, Christine did me a favor when she was brave enough to leave, which severely irritated Christine. I'm glad he thinks so, the ex-third wife said to Entertainment Tonight. It seems to be providing me the respect and recognition I merit for leaving. It was challenging. However, it was really empowering when I did it. And the wisest decision I ever made. And I'm so glad he understands it. When it comes to his first 3 spouses, sister spouse's followers had seen for years before the breakup that he seldom ever counted his blessings. When things didn't go his way, he would frequently have several tantrums since he took them for granted. Only after losing everyone but Robin Brown did he begin to acknowledge that he could be flawed. He would say things like, "Don't blame me for not loving you," for months, which infuriated supporters and exacerbated his divorce. Cody believed that he had been wronged for years and was trapped in the patriarchal system. It appears that the Sister Wives family is accepting their death as season 19 draws to a close. Cody himself is beginning to admit his mistakes. However, it's a bit late for the change of heart. Christine took the initiative and decided to leave her terrible marriage about 3 years ago. Even while it might have been frightening for her at times, she frequently admitted that living an unhappy existence would have been more terrible. Fans have been observing Christine's transformation over the last 2 seasons. She had found a new husband and a new home in Utah. She has had fun sharing jokes with David Woolley, such as this amusing image of a nacho. He appears to love her for herself as well, not her regal ancestry. Sister Wives bombshell. David Woolley blames himself for his ex-wife's tragic death by suicide. I should have seen the signs. In a gut-wrenching revelation that has left the Sister Wives fandom reeling, David Woolley, the man who brought joy and stability back into Christine Brown's life, has opened up about one of the darkest chapters of his past, a chapter he rarely discusses, but one that continues to haunt him every day, the tragic loss of his ex-wife by suicide. And in a moment of brutal honesty and emotional devastation, David Woolley has admitted that he still blames himself. I should have seen the signs, he reportedly said, his voice cracked with guilt and heartache, echoing the words of so many left behind by such an unimaginable loss. For years, David has carried this burden, quietly, stoically, without drawing attention to his pain. But as his life in the public eye grows brighter due to his relationship with Christine, the shadows of his past are beginning to resurface. And now, the world is finally learning about the heartbreak behind the man known simply as Christine's new beginning. The tragedy didn't unfold overnight. According to those close to David, his former wife had long struggled with mental health issues, battles that were often invisible to the outside world. On the surface, she was described as vibrant, kind, and fiercely devoted to her children. But behind closed doors, there was an emotional storm brewing. David, who has always portrayed himself as a provider and protector, is said to have done everything he could to hold their family together. Yet even with all the love in the world, sometimes love isn't enough. And in David's case, he's been haunted by the idea that maybe, just maybe, if he had asked one more question, stayed home one more night, or listened a little more closely, the outcome could have been different. It's a crushing burden, one made even heavier by the fact that David was the one who discovered her after it happened. Sources close to the family claim the traumatic memory of that day remains etched in David's mind. He rarely speaks about it in public, but those who know him well say he's never truly recovered. You never forget something like that, a family friend reportedly shared. David was broken. Not just heartbroken, shattered. He was a father trying to explain the unexplainable to his kids. He was a husband wondering what signs he missed. He was a man facing a reality so painful, it nearly destroyed him. And yet, in typical David Woolley fashion, he carried on for his children, for his family, and eventually for himself. But make no mistake, the grief has never left him. Even now, years later, that pain still lingers beneath his calm and kind exterior. It's in the way he listens intently when people talk about mental health. It's in the way he openly supports Christine's advocacy for emotional healing. And it's in the quiet moments he spends alone, thinking about the woman he once loved and the future they never got to finish building. Christine Brown, who has also experienced her own share of loss and emotional trauma after leaving her plural marriage to Cody Brown, has reportedly been David's rock during moments when the grief resurfaces. The connection between them runs deeper than just second-chance romance. According to insiders, Christine knows all too well what it's like to feel invisible, unheard, and trapped in a reality you never signed up for. Her empathy, forged through years of emotional endurance, has made her uniquely equipped to understand David's inner torment. And in return, David has supported Christine through her emotional transformation, from a spiritually crushed sister wife to an empowered, independent woman with a whole new life. But even with Christine's love, David's pain is never far behind. In a recent interview where he briefly acknowledged the loss, David didn't go into detail, out of respect for his children and his late ex-wife, but what he did say was enough to leave fans in tears. Sometimes you carry something with you not because you haven't moved on, but because moving on doesn't mean forgetting. I'll never forget. I just try to honor her memory the best I can. Those words struck a chord with countless viewers who have faced similar tragedies, and it painted a portrait of a man who is as emotionally deep as he is resilient. Many fans were quick to express admiration and compassion for David. "This makes me respect him even more," one follower wrote on social media. "He's lived through the kind of pain that changes you forever, and still managed to find love again. That takes strength." Others have noted that David's tragedy may explain his protective, gentle demeanor with Christine and her children. "Now it makes sense why he always looks like he's making sure everyone's okay," another fan wrote. "He knows how quickly things can change. He's not taking anything for granted." But not everyone has responded with empathy. In the age of social media, where speculation spreads like wildfire and empathy often takes a backseat to judgment, some users have questioned why David hadn't spoken about the suicide earlier. Some even cruelly implied he was hiding something. But Christine's defenders, and those who understand the deeply personal nature of mental health and grief, were quick to shut down those accusations. "He doesn't owe anyone his trauma," one commenter clapped back. "Just because he's on TV doesn't mean his pain is up for public consumption." Others pointed out that David's silence was likely rooted in protecting his children, who were still very young when they lost their mother, a loss that shaped their childhood and shaped David's parenting philosophy. Indeed, one of the most heartbreaking aspects of this tragedy is the impact it had on David's children. Suddenly thrust into a world without their mother, they had to learn how to navigate grief at an age when most kids are still figuring out how to tie their shoes. David reportedly became both parents overnight, nurturing and stern, soft-spoken yet fiercely protective. According to insiders, he never remarried until Christine because he didn't want to bring someone into the kids' lives who wouldn't understand the depth of what they'd been through. He waited for someone special, a source close to the family said. Someone who'd respect their past but help build a future. That someone was Christine. And while Christine has always made it clear that she isn't trying to replace anyone, especially not a woman who meant so much to the man she now loves, she has made space for David's grief, something that has reportedly only strengthened their bond. Together, they've created a blended family full of mutual respect, shared healing, and renewed joy, even if that joy exists alongside an ever-present sadness. Christine has said in interviews that David is so much more than just a partner. He's a protector, a confidant, and someone who understands her deepest fears. And now, the public understands that part of that empathy comes from his own suffering, a suffering that David Woolley never asked for, but one he lives with every single day. As Sister Wives heads into a new era, one that sees Christine flourishing in her new life and fans embracing David as a welcome addition to the family. This heartbreaking chapter adds layers to a man many thought they already understood. David Woolley isn't just the new guy or Christine's happily ever after. He's a man who has walked through fire, who has held his children through their tears, and who still bears the emotional scars of a loss no one should have to endure. He may smile in family photos and crack jokes in confessionals, but make no mistake, he carries a pain that runs deep. And the fact that he's still standing, still loving, and still trying is a testament not just to his resilience, but to his heart. In the end, David Woolley's story is one of unimaginable tragedy, enduring grief, and hard-won healing. His quiet strength and emotional honesty offer a powerful reminder that we never really know what someone has survived, and that behind every smile is a story. For David, that story includes love, loss, guilt, and finally, grace. And while he may still blame himself for what happened, those who love him, including Christine, are determined to remind him every day that he did the best he could. And sometimes, in a world that can be so unkind, that has to be enough.